Good afternoon, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a match reaction following a point down at the Vitality Stadium. You might wonder how the hell we got a point. I think if a Bournemouth fan is watching this, you'll be wondering the same thing as well. It all kicked off at the end, but not a very good game to watch for the second time in a week against the South Coast team. I'm saying that was pretty ugly to watch. It certainly was, but Newcastle left the Vitality Stadium without getting beat, which was, I suppose, a bonus. You would have liked us to get 3 points, but the quality was just lacking in the end, I think. And obviously, Neto in goal was unbelievable, pulling off some brilliant saves. I'm going to go through the game in itself and the highlights of the game. I'm going to do it as a whole, really, because you can't really split it up in the halves because Newcastle didn't really turn up in the first half. But we're going to get stuck right in that in a second. Just as always, say, if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 8,400 subs now, so closing in on 8,500. Then on to 9, where we've got a great prize for everyone in the prize draw, which we'll announce fairly soon, and see if anyone wants to come and subscribe and get a chance to win that prize. And we're live as well. Jump in the chat as you always do. There's been a few of you in there early doors, which we'll get to as quick as we can. Mark is in the background, hiding somewhere, doing all the comments, so he will keep me right, and I will try my best to read them all out and go through them. So let's start with the lineup then. So this is how Newcastle United lined up today. Now, I was a bit upset about this, and I'll explain why in a minute. I don't think I have to explain why. I think the lad's performance will explain why for you. But we lined up. Obviously, the main change was no Fabian Schär after this ridiculous red card. But the big one was Lewis Hall was dropped for Lloyd Kelly. Now, some people were going very tactical on this, and turning a little match of the day pundits and saying that this was all a tactical thing, and that Hall was gave the ball away a lot last week, which he did. But a brave fullback will always do that. I don't think he got any help off Gordon either, who again wasn't great today, which I'll get into in a minute. But I think the Lloyd Kelly thing to me just stunk of a bit of a negative defensive tactic and substitution. And I said this to Mark, and I said it through the game as well on social media. I just think we pay Bournemouth way too much respect. I don't know if it's the thing with Eddie and the tie and the sentimentality or something like that, but we always seem to just stand off against Bournemouth and not really play the kind of game we normally play when we're playing against other teams. And I just think we've got a much better team than what we were showing in this game. And that change for me would just stunk of a bit of a negative change, really. But the rest of it was all the same other than that. Kieran Trippier was on the bench despite some of the daft ITK bullshit, saying that he wasn't going to be on the bench, which is a lesson learned there, guys. Don't believe everything you see on social media. But yeah, Trippier was on the bench. So we started the game. Again, for the first 10, 15 minutes, much like the Southampton game, we looked all right. We looked at it. We were knocking the ball around. We looked like we were really going to show up and try and do something. And then it's almost out of nowhere. It's like somebody kicks the plug out of the wall. After 50 minutes, Newcastle just go fucking totally flat, stood off the play, let Bournemouth play. I must admit that they used the ball well. They were aggressive. They wanted it more. There was more desire from Bournemouth's play. I think Semenyo was brilliant all game, really. Evan Nielsen as well was a busy little bastard. He was on people. He was trying to run at people. Tavernier was obviously at it as well in terms of really going for it. And we just looked really, really poor after that. We were struggling to keep a hold of the ball. Our passing was sloppy. The movement was static. Isak was trying to make something happen, but just nothing was really going for him. The ball wasn't sticking to him. He wasn't quite making the moves that Isak normally does. Nobody was really pushing up to help him. Joe Linton was sloppy on the ball, wasn't really helping. Bruno was trying to make things happen, spraying a few passes around. That Longstaff reverted back to the headless chicken that he can be. Some awful play from Sean Longstaff today. I'll get more into that in a minute. Thank Christ Sandro Tonali's coming back. And Joe Willett looked good today because he was awful today, Longstaff. I'll get back into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But the goal comes on the 37th minute. Marcus Tavernier. Again, it's awful defending from Newcastle, just all around the whole play. Joe Linton fucks around with the ball, hangs around with it way too long. I don't know what he's doing. The ball gets taken off him. Bournemouth drive. Ball comes across. I think it's Semenyo manages to get it through Lloyd Kelly and Dan Burn. That's like trying to park your fucking car through two pillars in a castle. I don't know how the fuck he's got the ball through in the first place. Tino Livramento is fucked off for a hot dog. I don't know where the fuck he is. Kraft's looking up at the sky saying, what's that cloud look like? Like a tree. All of a sudden, Tavernier is marked in the box. Bang. Easy tap in. We're 1-0 down. You're thinking, what the fucking hell is going on here? They'd hit the post or the bar, sorry, just before that. Semenyo, again, nobody closing him down. He whips a rattler off the bar. So we can't say it wasn't coming, but we were so headless and so shit, towards the back end of that first half. First 15 minutes, we looked like we fancied it. After that, absolutely fucking nothing. So we'll go into half-time, 1-0 down. I'll quickly jump into some of your comments before we get into the second half. Big Al was saying, bloody awful game watch. Look better when Barnes come on. I'll get into that in a second too. Right, Al. What the hell has happened to Big Joe? Yeah, it was awful today. Gary saying starting 11 was totally Howard's fault. First half, it was terrible, only change when the subs came on. Yeah, we'll get to them in a second. Philip Ferreira, we have to be happy with a point after that, first half especially. Absolutely, I do agree. Ian, look, he escaped 100%. George is saying we were awful for long periods of the games. He's had it with Sean Longstaff. Ian McKenna, fifth in the table, still undefeated. Sorry, so you just like winding people up, Ian. I'm not falling for it today. Ian Stevenson says, need to reevaluate our useless transfer policy while I'm at it. The right wing is desperately needing an upgrade. 70 million for a centre back is ridiculous. Yeah, we'll get stuck into that as well in a minute. So yeah, the second half comes when everyone's screaming for subs to be made, and it's typical of Eddie to make no subs whatsoever. So we come out totally unchanged in the first half, and again, nothing really changed. But Bournemouth looked like the team who were in the ascendancy and really fancied it and really wanted to win this game. I thought Bournemouth, rightly so, were feeling lucky that they didn't finish this game with 3 points, really, because they played so much better than we did for the large majority of the game. And then he makes the substitutions, and the substitutions that came on, so I'll go through them here. So first of all, in the 58th minute, he makes a double substitution. He takes off Tino Livramento and he takes off Jacob Murphy. Now, Jacob Murphy, this weird little thing with Jacob Murphy, and I kind of talked about this on social media. I was tempted to do a separate video about this. We might talk about this on Monday night, but I was even talking to some of the content creators about it as well. The weird thing with Jacob Murphy has become, it's not Jacob Murphy the player, it's Jacob Murphy the person, Jacob Murphy the character, the juicy player, the little waves, the smile, the fact he doesn't mind getting subbed and all that. And people seem to think that that's going to get you enough to start week in, week out in the Premier League when you want to try and finish in the top 4 in the Premier League. Now, Jacob Murphy come off with passing statistics of 67%. And Harvey Barnes came on in the 58th minute and he showed exactly why. He probably was rightly so pissed off that he was left out of the team against Southampton and in favour of someone like Jacob Murphy because he was much better than Jacob Murphy. Pace, directness, quality, ability. He tried to take a shot the minute he come on. He was unlucky not to get that. But Harvey Barnes, statistics, wait to hear this, okay? So Harvey Barnes played 32 minutes, right? 10 accurate passes out of 10, 100% passing ratio and 1 assist. That's what I want off my winger. I want that quality. And I want that quality from the start of the game, Eddie Howe. I want that player to start the game, and I want to be winning 2 or 3-0 when you sub him off for the canny lad who runs around and smiles and waves at people. I want the better player on the pitch first, not the fucking canny lad, and have to bring him on when we're chasing the game to pull something out of his arse like he did do today. I'll praise the manager when he gets the substitutions right, which he did today, but I'll also criticise him when he gets a selection wrong. And he did get a selection wrong today, in my opinion. He should have started Harvey Barnes. He should have started Lewis Hall. So Kieran Trippier come on as well. Now, with Trips has been obviously having a bit of a week, I think. I'm not going to get into the kind of stuff that that's been talked about, but you're all clever people, so I'm sure you can draw it all together. But Kieran Trippier did come off the bench, despite looking like he was having a nervous breakdown on the bench, with a picture of him with his head in his hands. And again, with all the shit that's been said, it wasn't a great look. But he did come on. He looked all right, Kieran Trippier. So Kieran come on. And he looked like the Kieran Trippier of old, really, in many ways. So he got 63% passing accuracy, 10 out of his 16. He whipped in a few crosses, put a couple of tackles in as well. I think out of his crosses, so he had 8 crosses, 1 on target. I think he had 1 on target out of 3 long balls. We won 3 of his 4 ground duels. They won 1 of his 3 aerial duels, and he just looked like the Trippier of old. He was calm on the ball. He gave that leadership on the pitch. He looked like he wanted something to make something happen, really, in terms of his ability. And I think the substitutions definitely got us back into the game. Joe Willock as well, and Lewis Hall came on 69 and 70 minutes. Lewis Hall was brilliant when he come on, absolutely fucking brilliant. He wasn't brilliant just going forward like you'd expect with Lewis Hall. He whips a ball and more or less straight away. Alexander Isak should probably do a little bit better with it. He looked good defensively as well. He started to block off Semenyo, and everyone was saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be playing him. Should be playing Kelly because he's better defensively." But Lewis Hall looked great defensively and offensively. And you know what? That's what I wanted from Lewis Hall, because as a young player, I was worried that his confidence might be knocked by being substituted. But you know what? He looked brilliant when he came on. It was almost like he was saying to the manager, "All right, you want to drop us? I'm going to show you how good I am." And he came on. And he showed what he could do. And Joe Willock was brilliant today as well. Look at Joe Willock's stats. So Joe Willock, 100% passing accuracy again. Only 5 passes, mind you. He got 5 out of 5, all in there in terms of his passing ability. Put 1 tackle in. So he won 2 of his ground duels, beg your pardon, 2 of his ground duels. And he just looked busy. He looked lively. Joe Willock running around doing what Joe Willock does. Shortly before that, Sean Longstaff runs into the box, tries to buy a penalty, and it was fucking honestly, it wouldn't look out of place in a one of them cheesy porn style horror movies. That kind of acting, Sean, it was fucking terrible. You can't con the referee. Bruno Guimaraes is really clever at it. You cannot con the referee. If footballers were actors, Bruno would be like Marlon Brando, and Sean Longstaff would be like fucking Nicolas Cage. That's how bad he was. My God, I watched that Long Legs movie with Nicolas Cage in the night. Oof, honestly. Watch it and tell me what you think in the comments of the next show. Fucking hell. Slight digression away from football. But yeah, awful from Sean. His performance today was awful in general, really. His stats looked like he was half decent, but he was dreadful. Now Sandro Tonali is back in the squad. For me, walks straight back into the team over Sean Longstaff. He's such a better player, even in the snippets we saw. But Joe Willock should get in ahead of Sean Longstaff. And even when Louis Miley's fit, for me, Louis Miley gets in ahead of Sean Longstaff as well. Look, Sean is way down the pecking order of midfielders, in my opinion. He's a lovely lad, he's a canny lad, copy and paste. Jacob Murphy, even copy and paste Dan Burn as well at times. Dan Burn was slow as fuck today in everything that he did. I mean, when he tried that quick feet thing, he looked like he had his knickers around his ankles trying to fucking balance himself at one point. It was, honestly, I was shit myself watching Dan Burn do that. But yeah, for me, I just think that the substitutions added vibrancy, added life, added quality to the team, and we managed to get back into the game. 1-1. So the ball comes in. I think a ball comes in from Harvey Barnes from the assist, and it's put into the back of the net. It goes right over the top. Anthony Gordon did fuck all day. Really, he was piss poor again. Anthony Gordon, I don't know what's the matter with him. He gets his stud to it. It's 1-1, and we're level, and we think it's going to end in a draw. But we're pushing for the win. We can't quite get it. Nettles pulling off worldies left, right, and centre from Bruno in the top bins and a few other things as well. And we thought the game was going to end in a draw, but I'll come on to that in a minute. We're probably lucky that it didn't really. But just a couple more comments. George is saying Murphy, Chaddle, and Prime Jermaine Jean. Stop being a sex pest. Just clear that one up, George. But instead, looking like he was playing with a balloon. Yeah, he was shit. Murphy was dreadful today. Darren saying all of that last season's issues on full show. Pope a brilliant shot stopper. Pope did make some amazing saves today, Darren, I must say. I nearly underestimated the saves that Pope made. Bournemouth could have maybe won this 3 or, well, maybe not 4-1, but maybe 3-1 if it wasn't for Nick Pope. Isaac, what I want. Am I right to be delusioned? Chris Richardson is in the world of football. Yeah, we haven't spent any money to improve, and it's sent about the real answer. And that evidence is no. You're not disillusioned to well, you're not wrong to be asking that question, because we all want to know what the hell's going on with it. It's just something isn't right behind the scenes, whether it's FFP or PSR. I get the feeling they're waiting for Man City's court case to see what happens, whether City get a slap on the wrist in this open season for Newcastle. But it's a big gamble, because if you don't go and get 2 or 3 quality additions to the squad in this window, and there is still time, Newcastle, you can sort this window out. This window's flattened me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fed up with this window. It's took all the positivity out of my expectations for the season. I'm just miserable with it. I want the window over with and concentrate on football. But when you have 2 rubbish performances like that back to back, it just brings you down. It really, really does. Ian saying horrible game, tight pitch, windy. 2 players didn't show up. Need a butt up the arse. Yeah, totally agree with that. Clouds is saying players needed at least 2 signings next week. The team needs fresh faces. Time to back the manager in the window. Well, the manager would have been under a lot of criticism today if we'd lost that game. I think the point actually looks like a better result than we should have got. So he maybe gets a lot of that heat taken off of him. Ian says time for the club to spend a few quid. Oh my God, Joe Linton, oh Jesus. So towards the end there, we'll get back into the game then, guys, just to finish it off. Bournemouth score what looks like the winning goal. Cross comes in, whacks the lad in the arm. I can't remember the centre half's name now. What is his name? I think he come off the bench, didn't he, for Bournemouth? Let's have a little look. Oh, yeah, it was. Was it the kid off the bench? Was it Otara? Otara came on for Justin Kluivert, didn't he? So the cross comes in. He manages to out-jump Dan Burn, who, for someone who's like 6'9", jumps fucking 3'2" every time he's in the box, whether it's the attacker or defender. I don't understand what the fuck's going on with Dan Burn. Then manages to jump in between Joe Linton and Dan Burn. He's got his arm like that. Now, I think it hits some kind of roundabout there on the arm. It goes whistling straight into the back of the net. So obviously it goes to VAR. They look at it again, and they rule it out for disallowed goal for handball. So Bournemouth are going nuts. One of their assistants gets sent off on the sideline. Everyone's going fucking mad about it. The whole stadium's booing. The Bournemouth fans, rightly so, may feel a little bit aggrieved by this whole thing. But for me and Mark disagreed in a straight away on WhatsApp. We'll disagree on it probably on Monday night as well. But I think it's a handball, because If it hits him here and goes right into the back of the net directly, that's a handball. If it hits him here, kind of drops down and he smashes it in with his foot, then you can maybe say it's hit his arm and dropped and it's put it in a favourable position. But the fact it's gone directly from his arm to the back of the net, for me, has to be a handball and rule out the goal. So I'm saying it's a handball, in my opinion. So we get away with a lucky one on that. We're pressing up the end of the pitch. Their keeper pulls off a couple of wheels. He gets the ball. He comes out. And Dan Burn had just got booked a few minutes ago from shoulder charging him from a set piece to stop him hitting this on the break. Got a yellow card. And you say, fair enough. Joe Linton decides to wrap his neck up as if he's going to fucking RKO him or something like that. And I'm going, what the hell are you doing? After Fabian Schär's ridiculous action last week, Joe Linton does that. And he gets a yellow card. I don't even know if they looked at VAR or not. They went and sent off the Bournemouth assistant. But, I mean, I looked at that and I thought, he is so lucky, Joe Linton, not to get a red card for violent conduct there by putting his arm on the throat of the keeper. To me, that should have been a red card. And Joe Linton is really, really lucky. He was shit today. But there was nobody really come off the bench to replace him, was there? But yeah, he was very, very lucky boy. Very, very lucky boy, I think, in regards to that one. A couple more comments there, guys. Mukhtar Mohammed saying, Burn, Kraft cannot start a game together again. They're both shit slow. Cannot play out from the back. Also, it's time we upgrade on Pope. He can't pass for shit. When he keep passing these other guy, I think Pope's shot stopping is his biggest strength. I do agree with that one. His kicking can be really, really poor, to be fair. The Crimson Lip is saying we take far too long to get in the games. I couldn't agree more, mate. It took 45 for us just to look dangerous. And substitutions too, Crimson Lip. You know, the team were piss poor today. You know, Newcastle need to back their ability to take a team like Bournemouth on and go at them and find those pockets of space. Now, I don't want to say I'm being disrespectful to Bournemouth. One of the Bournemouth fans had me out in the comments in the preview. Fair play, mate. You're entitled to that. I thought Bournemouth were great today and they probably deserved the win. They were way better than we were. But we have to back ourselves as a team, as a squad, with the quality that we have to go after those teams and just show our quality, get the best players on the ball, get Isak in positions, get Gordon firing, get Barnes in there as well. You know, but Eddie just looks like he's being too safe. Steady Eddie is what I'm going to start calling him this season. Every time he just seems to bottle it and play a little bit too safe against teams you look at and you think we should probably be going at them and trying to be 2 or 3-0 up in the first half and then sit back a bit if you want and be a bit defensive. You can do that. It's not like we were playing against City or Liverpool or here, or even Chelsea, you know, because you know what Chelsea's going to turn out. They've got 40-odd players. Who knows who the fuck they're going to play? But Chelsea battered Wolves today. We've got Wolves next, I think it is. And Wolves can turn it on, you know, at times. But I just felt that he started up negative today and he had to change it to the positive lads. But it was almost a little bit too late in the game had kind of had too much expenditure by that point that we couldn't really win it. I think to be fair, the keeper pulls off worldies, but Pope did as well. I just think Eddie needs to be braver when we're playing against teams that we probably should be the favourites against rather than sitting back. But I do think there's a nostalgic thing here, Eddie Howe, that he comes back to Bournemouth, he's on the stands, he's in the dressing rooms, he's all the pictures on him because he's like Bournemouth's Keegan. You know, and I don't think he wants to fucking batter us. But I remember when Keegan was the City manager, he didn't give a fuck about us. He wanted to beat us, you know, and you got that feel. I don't get that from Eddie. I think he needs to be a bit more ruthless, you know, in that opinion for me. Anthony Darling says, time for Barnes, Isak and Gordon to start together. 100%, Anthony, mate. I said that before the game. Doesn't matter how nice a lad Jacob Murphy is. He's not got the quality. Start the better players, win the game, and then make the changes. Chris Regay saying, we should keep the front three. Barnes gives us more. 100% gives us more. Darkby Design saying the little Miley should get in ahead of Longstaff. At least how it changed it earliest time. Exactly. He could have left it till Eddie o'clock, as the guys at Tune Review say, which would have pissed me right off. Kendo saying Willock is starting to get back in shape with those mazy runs. He did that one when he ducked inside in the wing and he took him for pace with that deceptive speed that he has. I loved it, Kendo. We just need him to stay fit. When he got that clip, I don't know about you, and he was down, I was thinking, oh my God, like what is going on? Oh dear, Jamesy, they cost you $2,000 on your racket today. What a nightmare. Always worse when it's my own team that lets me down. J7 was shocking today. Current defenders can't play off in the back. They can't. You know, we're missing Sven Botman. It's a huge miss. We're missing Fabian Schär. Those two alone are probably better on the ball than Sean Longstaff, who's a midfielder. You know, so missing those two is massive. Get Mark Gahey and sort that fucking deal out. It's gone on long enough now. You've fucked around now. You might as well pay the money and get the bloke in and then have him at the back who can play. You know, until Botman gets back fit or Schär gets back from the suspension, play Gahey and Schär until Botman's fit, and then play Botman and Gahey or Botman and Schär, whoever the back two is that you want, and play out from the back because, you know, Burn Kraft today just looked like a couple of hoofball centre halves, which we don't need. We need people who can play. If that's how we're geared up to play, that's how we play. And if you're not geared up to play, give the ball to fucking Bruno and let him cook. Don't just loaf the ball up 45 yards, expect Isak to bring it down on his chest, because that's not his game either. Abacus is saying, finally, Eddie showed some guts and changed up earlier on. Anytime, yeah. Hope he starts Barnes, me 200%. Yeah, Baz, I do agree. That was a definite red by Joe Linton. He's very, very lucky not to get battered and done for that. I hope they don't look at it again. Andy Ford saying, if that was against us, I'd be apologetic. We got so lucky, but who gives a fuck? Absolutely, mate. I suppose we don't in the greatest grand scheme of things. Julian, it's the first 45 minutes. We look like we were a testimonial. I thought that as well. It just did too much respect for Bournemouth, way too much respect, because like you say, we should be going at these teams and proper going at them as well. I don't understand why we weren't. Joe Smith saying the right side is so weak with Longstaff and Murphy. Totally agree. If we don't send a right winger, I'd play Gordon and start Barnes. I totally agree, mate. I've been screaming that for ages now. Stephen saying time for a very large scotch. Couldn't blame you, mate. Joe Linton's one lucky boy not to get a yellow 100%. Vincent saying games like this definitely show how much we miss our two best defenders. Roadblock saying it ain't easy being a Geordie. It certainly isn't. And Ian saying 4 defenders on the bench. Sanders saying nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, that. I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on this young boy that's coming through the ranks. But I just the depth is lacking so much. Ty saying that Isak was raging with Longstaff and not playing him through on 9 minutes. It could have been one of, because Longstaff hasn't got the brain. Ty, he's not got the brain to do it. He's not sharp enough in the game. I don't know what Longstaff's brain's like when he's playing, but he just runs in straight lines. It was a bit, I think, when he went out wide. I said to Mark, he's got no skill. He's got no ability to drop a shoulder and tuck inside, or suck the defender out and spin him. He just runs in straight lines everywhere, and he'll run all day, Sean, for you, no doubt about it at all. He'll run all day, but he hasn't got enough quality to change a game or grab a game in midfield. Loved the tackle he put on Bertrand Diaz last week. Didn't do enough of that, but today he reverted back to to the Sean that gets the criticism, and the criticism isn't ill placed when you're seeing performances like that from Sean. You say, we expect more from you. You've been in a team long enough now. You should be influencing games a bit more than that. If you can't influence games, that's fine. Go get somebody better than him who can then, because if Bruno and Joe are off, then fucking hell, where do we go? But for me, Joe Willock has to start the next game if Sandro Tonali isn't match fit in the Premier League. I know we've got the Cup game coming up, which we'll do the preview for, and we'll be on doing the post-match after that as well. That is Sandro Tonali able to play again. I'd be shocked if he doesn't start in that game. It has got an Elliot Anderson written all over it for me. I'm starting to worry a little bit about that. But yeah, I think that Willock has to start that game. Whether Willock starts and Tonali comes on second half or vice versa. But yeah, Sean slipped down the pecking order for me. Bad performance. But if Eddie sticks to playing Sean week in, week out, I think it's going to come back and bite him on the arse. It really, really is. Because I like Sean as a kid. He's a lovely kid. He's a great role model, does loads for the community and all that. But again, you're not getting your place in the team just because you're a nice lad or because you smile and say funny things on the fan social medias, like Jacob Murphy does. You need to show it on the pitch. You need to bring quality. Murphy today ran around all day long, but didn't have any end product, didn't have any real quality. Barnes comes on, bang, he's direct, he's in, he's cutting in, he's shooting, he's passing. That's what you want. That's where we are now as a club. That's where we want to be. We haven't got time to be sentimental and play players because they're good lads. They need to be good players. It's as simple as that. And this whole thing is just fucking getting on my nerves. It really, really is. Ty saying the problem is that quality players need more quality to play with, or they'll one out. No doubt. Yeah, Graham's not happy. He says, same shot as last season. Longstaff can't tackle, Burn can't head, Murphy can't pass, Paul can't kick. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, well, at least we drew, mate. At least we drew. I suppose, is the only plus side, because if we'd lost that game, we would all have been livid. Steve was saying, what a ridiculous game, totally mismanaged. We played like we thought. It was an easy 3 points. It was ours for taking. That's now 2 games, and there's a lot of very big questions. You know what, Steve? You're absolutely right, and we're a channel that'll ask that question. People come up and give us loads of grief on these videos or on the socials when we start asking questions about the manager, about the tactics, about the players and that kind of stuff as well. But that's what we do. We're not here to kiss the club's arse. I love Newcastle United. I'll support Newcastle United for as long as I can remember liking football. I've been through the shit, the good, the shit again, the good, then whatever we are now. Are we good or are we shit? Tell us in the comments below. But I've been through it all with Newcastle. I've seen a variation of players. I've seen the Shearers. I've seen the Silvio Mariches. I've seen all these fucking players, good, bad, and ugly, right? And I will give my opinion on how I think the club is at that particular time. And whether you agree or disagree, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to agree with me. You don't need to disagree with me, whatever. We'll have a football debate. But when you're seeing players getting a position in that team over players who are so much better than they are, you have to ask the question why. I think the problem is with Harvey Barnes, unfairly, I've said this before, he's being tagged as an impact player, as a substitute that can come on and pull Eddie out the shit when he needs it, right? And I understand that because Barnes has that ability, but he didn't come to Newcastle for that. And we didn't pay 38 million for that. We ain't Man City. We can't bring a 38 million pound player off the bench to say we're arse. We should be 2 or 3-0 up anyway. You'd rather start that lad, have his quality from the beginning. You know, if you start him and he's wank, yeah, you can drop him the week after. But you don't start a guy who just runs around and looks busy, yeah, because he smiles and waves and everyone goes, oh, what a lovely lad. You know, when you could be playing a lad who could win a game for you. That's the bit. I think that'll stop Eddie Howe getting to the next level to be an elite manager. You think about Pep, Klopp, Ferguson, Wenger, those kind of managers that were ruthless when they needed to be. It doesn't matter what a player did for them. You know, Ian Wright, Tony Adams, those kind of players. You know, Alex Ferguson, a prime example, you know, would cut you loose the minute you weren't doing what you wanted you to do. You weren't fine. Roy Keane's a prime example. But Eddie needs to be like that with these players. You're on a journey with these players, and these players are taking you to every part of the journey that you want to be at. But there may come a time where that player's race is run, his time is done, and you have to get somebody better to take you to that next level. And that's what he has to do as a manager. He has to be able to do that. I know he seems like a lovely guy, articulate, intelligent. I'm sure he's got a dark side to him when you upset him, but he has to be able to get his head around that and understand that these players can't just play because they're good lads or they're leaders or everyone in the dressing room thinks they're top blokes. You want to be able to influence and win games and then be able to change it up and take your good lads off to rest them for next week. That should be the way that we play. I know Eddie Howe knows a lot more about football than I do, but from the looking in, you know, from the outside, I don't understand why you're leaving quality players on the bench and chasing games where those players could get us way ahead. You know, I just don't get it. So Joe's saying Tonali must play as many games as possible. Minutes against Forest, he can make up for the days like today when Joe was poor. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we do rely heavily on Joe Linton. There's no doubt about that in my eyes, especially and Bruno as well. And if they're both off, we're way off. Kev T is saying we have too many runners. We need some technical players. Totally agree. J7 and Longy have all looked a bit clumsy and take too long on the ball. Love them both, but we can't have them in the same team. That's a fair shout. I think Joe Linton is a monster of a player, pace, power, but technically he is lacking a little bit. His final ball can be off. His shooting can be erratic. Bruno's got more technical ability, but he hasn't got the running power that Joe Linton has. So together, they're almost like, you know, perfect as a midfielder. That's probably why they work so well together. But you're right, when you got Joe and Longstaff just running with no real purpose of the run. I mean, Willock makes purposeful runs. You see Willock's runs. Barnes is probably the best off the ball runner in the team, I think. Him and Isaac combined. When they make a run, it's a determined run. It's either to pull a defender out or to find space. And that's why you need those better players on the pitch, in my opinion. Agent Stream says Murphy will be a sub if we get a right winger. Murphy should be a sub now, mate. I think move Gordon over there and get Barnes on the left if that's the case. Jamie saying, disgusting Newcastle cheating against our club. You lot will you wait till we come to St James's Park? I'm sorry you feel that way, Jamie. I think you guys deserve the win, to be fair, mate. I really do. And I think if you had the win, not many Newcastle channels would come on and argue with that. You were a much better team. You wanted it more. You only disappeared in the game probably for a grand total of about half an hour, I think, when we were pressing on. But other than that, you were in the game and you deserve to win the game. I don't think it's cheating in terms of the handball, because for me, it's still a handball. I think if we'd scored that, you probably would want that ruled out as well, and you probably would expect it to be ruled out as well. But the red card on Joe Linton, I will give you that. He should have had a red card. David saying, Longstaff has had a long run on our team. Now it's time for Sandro to take his place, although Eddie will probably ease him in. He probably will. I mean, you know, the problem is with Eddie, I think the loyalty to these players sometimes sticks to Eddie, you know, like shit to the pan. Sorry, that was the only analogy I could think of. But that's what it is. It does. It sticks to Eddie. And And when we're losing games, when we're poor in games, that's what people are going to go at them for. Of course, you'll get all the trust the process wankers having a go at you. They're all very quiet today, by the way, on social media, the trust the process wankers, when we were so shit we couldn't string 3 passes together. Funny that. But they'll go at you for criticising the manager. But you've got to give them right to criticise the manager. If you're not happy with the team, you're not happy with the way we played, criticise as much as you want, but equally praise when things go well. Stu Garrison, we need to start the team minus Miggy we ended with. I do agree with that, mate. Yeah, Miggy's not good enough. He should be out of the squad for me completely. Tyson Hope for Tonali is up for it. As we look at him, it looks like him and his missus have split up. Oh, God. That's unlucky for Tonali because she is belting. So he's had a tough year, mate. It's a tough year. Luke Bailey saying less of the doom and gloom, people. A point away in the Prem is a good thing. We're sitting fifth and they're being cheered. But it's not doom and gloom, look. It's just pointing out the worries that we've been poor. We've been poor the first 2 games. We've got a very generous fixture list. And if we don't get maximum points out of that fixture list, when it starts to slip over to the big teams and we haven't woken up and got better, we'll get tanked, mate. No matter how positive you are, we'll get spanked, we'll get tanked. And being fifth in the league after 2 games is neither here nor there, in my opinion, mate. It's not at all. I agree with that, Steve. Yeah, supporters in the blood. You can never walk away. I do agree with that, mate. I do agree with that. Georgia said honeymoon is well and truly over for her. Wedding photos gathering dust in the loft. Business trips away with the secretary become more frequent to run. Now, we won't have many talks about affairs today, George. It could be an issue. Me and Mark can have comments about that in the old private chats. But yeah, I do think so. I think a lot of fans are wondering, okay, Eddie, what's the next level? Because you've performed miracles, but where are we? Where are we? The pressure's on him this season. Make no mistake about it. The pressure is on. If he has a shit season and we finish way below what the owners are looking for, he's gone. It's as simple as that. He needs to up it and he needs to learn to be a bit more ruthless. Dave says, well, 2 performances now. The off-field stuff definitely trickled down the patch. Gordon looks gone. Is he worried about Gordon? His worry. He didn't look particularly up for it, does he? But yeah, I just think that something isn't right behind the scenes in the club. I don't know if it's the windows maybe throwing the players off, if it's the disruption upstairs, that kind of family unity bond between Amanda, Murdad, the players, the manager, that's all. The dynamics change. It's more corporate. It's like a company, isn't it? When you work for a company and there's this great feeling of camaraderie and togetherness. I know this from my business world, my day job away from doing this. If you change a company and it becomes too heavy, too corporate, too rule, too regulated, people get a bit downhearted and a bit, fucking hell, go processes. And it kind of feels a little bit like that on the pitch. It feels like something isn't quite right. Like we've lost a spark behind the scenes. Obviously, not having enough quality players is a huge issue, and injuries is a huge issue. But there does seem to be a change of the wind behind the scenes in Newcastle, and it does worry me a little bit. That today and Southampton, I felt like I was watching the Newcastle of old, to be honest with you. And I really hope that we wake up soon enough and get out of this rut and get the transfer window to probably be a real good thing, a window done. Because if we bring people in, great, the squad's enhanced. If we don't, we can put it to bed and just concentrate and crack on. But for me, right now, there is something not quite right behind the scenes, and I do worry about it. I really, really do. Comment there from, is it Michelle Mijat? I hope I got that right. Like I said earlier on today, we were lucky to come away with a point today. We have too many players that are simply not good enough going forward. Longstaff, Byrne, Murphy, Almiron. Very, very hard to disagree with that, mate. And you bang on the money. Gordon's celebration was mooted, said Stu. Yeah, it was a little bit, but I just think he probably was embarrassed to celebrate too much because we were shit in the game, to be brutally honest with you. David is saying, we've been going to matches 1975. We've always had a good team on paper, but in practice, there's always something lacking. Keane got the best tune out of us, no doubt about that. Absolutely. Coming there from Irie961. It's like, what's there? Steve McLaren will say his next press conference. Jamaica manager. Watching that doesn't go in the transfer window. I don't know. Yeah, what's right winger for Chelsea? Madueke scores a hat-trick against Wolves. Why did we put a bid in from weeks ago? I just don't even think he was on the radar, contrary to the old paper talk, I must admit. We were awful. Who hired Kelly, says Richard. If we were called a big club, we need to stop getting the likes of Kelly and Ruddy. Well, do you know what? I said that at the time, Richard. I think that's another reason I feel a bit low about the whole window. I mean, it's a Mike Ashley window, isn't it, really? Lloyd Kelly on a free, John Ruddy, Vlachodimos, who looks like he's going to be out again, which is odd. That was the whole Elliot Anderson thing. You lose 2 exciting young players like Elliot Anderson and Minton. You don't bring the quality in to replace them. Everyone's bound to feel a little bit down in the dumps about that. And then you put in 2 pretty shit performances. It's not particularly good. It really isn't. So I kind of understand that, how you feel that way, mate. It's let's just hope things get better. Yeah, I do agree with you, Terry. Joe was crap today. There's no doubt about that. But as Ty said, he was hailed as the best defender midfield in the Premier League last week. Football can change, but you've got to show up on the daytime. You can't just live on the back of the last performance. You really can't. Yeah, well, we're not reading your comment out, Luke. If you don't think we're negative, then fuck off and watch somebody else, mate. I'm being realistic here. That's what I do. If it's good, I'll say it's good. If it's not so good, I won't say it's good, mate. If you want to go watch somebody talking bollocks and smiling at the camera, there's plenty of them going around, mate. Crack on and do it. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. Colt is saying, Spartan Chris, how gave them more respect than the fucking Godfather. Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it was, Paul. Do a couple more comments, guys, and then we'll jump off, and Luke can go put his tenner pad in because he's wet his pants because I've criticised the manager. On you go, Luke, mate. Just wipe up, mate. Right. So Chris Moody said we look like we're getting by. What we waiting for? Sandra coming back, new players, something's definitely up. I do agree, Chris. I do agree. Comment there from Agent Tech Stream. Don't forget the TTR charity stream on deadline day. No, I won't forget that. The Toon Review guys do a brilliant stream for the charity as well. Me and Mark will make sure that we share all of that stuff in the old chats and everything else. As Mark says, good shout, Agent Tech. We will definitely do that, and we'll be telling the Toon Review guys that we will be doing that as well. So yeah, maybe one more comment. Here we go. Roger is saying that's the word, Chris. Change. If we don't, we won't improve. What a great way to end that on, Roger. Great comment, mate. We need to up it. We need to improve. We need to have better quality to finish where we want to finish. If you want to finish top 4, top 5, top 6, would you be a shite side better than we've been these last 2 games? That ain't negative. That's fact. So that's me done, guys. Thank you so much for watching. About 400 odd of you in the comments there, which is absolutely brilliant. So like the channel if you can, unless you think it's negative like Luke and he's wet his pants. On you go, Luke. I hope it's not too bad of a day for you, mate. As you say, we're 5th in the table and everything's great. So I'm sure you'll have a great time. But yeah, like that, guys. Subscribe. Help get us to that 9K as quick as you can. Got a mint prize for the 9K when we get there. Have a great day. We didn't get beat. That is a bonus. I'm not as excited as old Luke is. But hey, we didn't get beat. We'll be back on Monday night, me and Mark, for what's going on. See you later, everyone. Take it easy.